One day, Marissa calls her husband and asks if she wasn't a knockout. Looking in the mirror, Marissa tells her husband that today she would give a makeover and buy some new clothes. Her husband compliments her saying she was beautiful. She thanks him, but explains that she needs to go buy new clothes, because it was like therapy for her, and her partner asks why is she spending like that. Marissa talks if he wanted her to walk all sloppy the way he was saying for God's sake, and that he needed to do a progressive in his hair, and also if he had a limit on his card because Marissa wanted to get silicone, but that he would split everything. The husband looks at her and asks what was the need. His wife replies that it was to be hot because life passed and she didn't want to be destroyed, as she was only 24 years old. Marissa says she wanted to give it a makeover. Her husband says there is no need, but she ignores him, saying that she would find her friends at the mall. She needed cash or her card. She soon decides on the card and turns around to finish getting ready. Her husband murmurs what the need would be. His wife listens and says that everything for him was a need, and his partner says he didn't have the need. Marissa says goodbye and asks if the card was on the shelf. Her husband confirms it and warns not to spend too much. In the living room, Marissa catches the maid's attention, asking if she was in mourning because she was all in black. The maid Angela says no, and that was her uniform. Her boss tells her to change colors and says that the backrest was there in the room and hungry, and Angela was supposed to do anything. The boss amends by saying that she wanted the house immaculate, that she would need to change her perfume because the smell was giving her a headache. Angela waves and sees her boss leaving. Her husband, who was seeing what his wife was saying without her realizing it, leaves the room and apologizes to the employee, saying that after she made those friends, Marissa was being very disrespectful. The maid asks her not to worry because she was used to it. Her boss tells her to calm down as her work was impeccable. She thanks him and returns to his service. Meanwhile, when she went down the stairs, Marissa said that she would really spend it and that her husband was a good for nothing and that one more or less wouldn't make any difference, muttering that she would spend $10,000 and that he wouldn't repair it. After some time, while the employee was making the bed in the room, her boss observes her and starts to think that as Angela was a very hardworking, dedicated person. Soon he enters the room and asks her to iron a shirt. She says yes and would just finish making the bed and then go. Marissa's husband sits down and asks Angela why she isn't married. Angela replies that it was because she didn't get a person who is good for her, who respects her children, is a hard worker and a family man. Her boss says she's right. The employee nods in agreement and he asks if she thought about the future. Do another profession? She answers yes and had already thought about medicine, but she hasn't had the opportunity yet. The boss looks at her and says that with all due respect, he wanted a woman like her who thinks about the future, who respects the house, thinks about the family. Angela, seeing that her boss was lost in thoughts, says that his wife was a very complicated person and that he had a lot of good women for him to arrange. He says he was calm because he knew how Marissa was, getting up to leave. In the room, the boss is thinking about what his employee said and agrees that he would find a better person like her. Seeing where his thoughts were going, he scolds himself, saying that he shouldn't even be thinking. Hours later, Marissa arrives with many bags and shows her maid the perfume she had bought Angela and says that it was the kind of perfume she was supposed to use because she wanted her to become a Dondoka maid and not a boutique maid. Angela confirms. While her boss goes to her room to talk to her husband, in the room, she informs him that she had spent 10,000 reis on his card, but that she had paid in installments. The husband, in disbelief, asks what Marissa had spent on. She starts showing what she had bought and the perfume to the maid, complaining about the one she had that was too sweet and couldn't stand the smell, so Marissa decided to do some charity work. He, still in disbelief, asks what was the need to spend 10,000 reis. She responds by saying that it was all the need, because she wouldn't go out anyway, walk around in any clothes, and that her friends were on another level. In disbelief, he says to Marissa that she had to understand that she was not her friends, but if she is going to go out with them, she cannot go out anyway, and says that their husbands are in the stands, and that her partner had to do the same. The companion says that it was because the husbands of her friends were able to afford them. Marissa sees that he also had it, because it was paid in installments, and that now he would go out to get her hair done, which she had already paid for. Her husband replies that he had thought it was out of the 10,000 reis, and his wife says that it was just the lights that she would fix later with the hairdresser, and that she is now going to ask about the car keys, because she was tired of taking an Uber. A week later, while Marissa is sitting on the couch watching, she calls Angela and asks, "Where's her coffee?" The employee replies that she would bring it to her and goes to the kitchen to get it. The boss starts to grumble. Marissa again screams Angela's name and she runs back with the coffee to deliver it to her boss. When she would go back to the kitchen, she is stopped by her boss, who tells her to stay there, because she wouldn't be screaming for her. Already disgusted with the way she was treated, Angela puts an end to it, saying that she couldn't stand being humiliated like that anymore. Marissa drops her cup and screams that she couldn't take it anymore, and complains about the coffee, and asks her what Angela would live with a bunch of kids scattered around. Before the employee can give the answer, Marissa's husband arrives and asks what was that screaming? The wife responds by saying that she wasn't screaming, that maid was a brat. The husband looks at her and starts talking, that she had to understand how to be more humble, as she spoke like that to people, and that was why Angela wanted to leave, saying that she had brought the coffee and his wife only knew how to complain. Marissa looks at him and asks if he wanted her to humiliate herself for the maid, and that if she wanted to leave, so be it. Bravo, her husband says that wasn't it, and that Marissa had to learn to talk to people, and another that Angela wouldn't go anywhere and that she would leave. Marissa surprised, why would she leave? Did he prefer to be with the little maid rather than her? Her husband says yes, because he liked Angela. Revolted, the wife looks and calls the maid a naughty, saying that she had put her inside the house to work and that she had the courage to steal her man like that. He defends the employee, saying that she had not done any of that, and clarifies that Marissa had not put anyone to work, as she did not give any work because his wife did not work to pay Angela, but he did. Marissa looks at them and says that already, that it was like that they were two pieces of garbage and that she was going to take her things to leave. The now ex-husband says that she was already leaving late, and turns to Angela and says that he thought it was real, about starting to like her, and that she was a dedicated, hardworking, beautiful woman, and asks if they could try something nothing too much seriously. Angela smiles and replies that she was willing. He smiles at her and kisses her hand, happy that she accepted him.